Who was the most intimidating person?
Zadarius Smith.
Zadarius
Smith. Man, like I've never the haircut. Like I've never shake that much with him in my presence. It's like when he come in, it's like full force. I'm like, man, you a scary mother. You scary, bro.
Welcome back, friends. Today I woke up early and drove all the way to Green Bay, Wisconsin to hang out with a barber, but not just any barber, the official barber of the Green Bay Packers. You've seen his work on primetime TV, on the heads of Matt LaFleur, Aaron Jones, Jordan Love, Dominic Daphne, and many, many more. Welcome to the show, Hansel Canady.
Yeah, I appreciate you for having me.
Yeah, dude. Thanks for having me way out here. And we ended up recording outside, so we're right behind one of two of your barbershops, correct?
Yes.
Is this the first one that you opened?
No. So the first one I opened, it was on Mason Street here in Green Bay.
Okay. That's the bigger location. So why did you open a second, smaller location?
So actually the other location is on Velp Street here in Green Bay. And then I ended up buying the building over here on Broadway.
Oh, okay. So your second location isn't the original location either?
No.
Man, I guess you did start all this stuff a long time ago. Okay, So what I usually ask at the beginning of the show is, in your own words, who are you and what are you passionate about?
Who am I? My name is Hansel. My biggest thing I'm passionate about is just my family, God, and my barbershop.
And you have two girls. So you told me off mic there, how old? 7 and 9?
7 and 9 this year.
Yeah, so you still have a few years left where they think you're the coolest person in the world.
Yeah, they think that I'm just like above the top, like cool dad, like nothing can go wrong dad. Like it's pretty cool, like just to, see them look at me in that light. I hope that they always see me in that way.
Yeah, for real. Like my older one's 12. She was a year old when I opened my skateboard shop. I had that for a little over 10 years. So both my kids grew up like in my store seeing dad as like this cool person, and all like their friends from school coming into the skate shop. They're like, your dad owns a skate shop. Last summer, my older one, Lily, and I shouldn't have been stoked about this, but all the time she'd be like, you're my favorite person. I'm like, ha, not my ex-wife, not your mom, huh? I'm your favorite. And now this year, she never wants to hang out anymore. She just wants to sit on her phone with her.
You cannot react
with her friends.
Yeah, because they get kind of embarrassed after that.
Yeah, no, for real. Yeah, I'm not cool anymore. So, did Charlie Barron's take you fishing? Did that actually happen?
No.
Whack, Charlie. So, if anyone wants to know, this isn't your first interview. You did an interview on the Cripes Cast back in 2022. I believe
so. Yeah.
Yeah, I listened to it twice now. And Charlie Barron's came and got his haircut from you. I came shaved, but maybe you can fix the back of my head. We'll see.
I'm pretty sure I can.
And you recorded that interview. So we'll try not to tell like all the same stories, but we still have to give a little bit of the laydown. So you actually didn't grow up initially in Wisconsin. You grew up in Chicago, yeah?
So I grew up in Chicago, but I moved to Green Bay around 10, 11 years old, somewhere around there. So it was back in 2001 when I first moved here.
Okay, so I heard during that interview that your first time that you gave someone a haircut was when you were 10. So was that in Green Bay or was that in Chicago?
That was in Chicago.
Oh, okay.
Right before here. So it was my little brother.
How much younger is he than you?
He is 32, I believe.
And you're how old?
35.
Oh, we're the same age. Cool. So he was only 7. So if you messed up, it didn't matter that much. So
it mattered. My mom kicked my butt.
So what's the actual story? Did she buy the clippers and you just like, when she wasn't looking, you guys were like, oh, I'm just going to cut your hair for you? Did he get gum in his hair and you're like, I guess I got to fix it? Or what happened?
So my mom, like we just grew up poor.
Sure.
So my mom, like one of the things that she did was like cut our hair for us.
Yeah.
But then she ended up getting busy. So just one day I was like, you know what? I'm just pick up these clippers real quick. And I told my little brother, I was like, hey, get in the bathroom right now. He was like, all right, let's go. So went into the bathroom and I was like, all right, obviously this is my first time doing this. So I'm going to just try to do it.
Yeah.
I did put the bowl on the head and like twist around it. Oh, dude. I highly advise anyone not to do that. But anyway, so I put the bowl on the head and started to fade that way. And like I said, my mom got back home and she was like, what the heck did you do to my son? And I was like, I tried to cut his hair, Mom. And back in the day, when they used to like beat your kids, I got a beating that day.
Yeah, nowadays you definitely can't do that. You have to give them a stern talking to, and then they realize you have no ammunition, and they're like, for sure, do whatever I want. My daughter, my younger one, just like if we were a no slime household, and somehow she got some slime and got it in her hair. And we're like having a family movie night in the living room, and she comes out and she just like cut it out. from like the very front.
Ooh.
So she has bangs that are like as short as my hair.
I could just envision that.
Yeah, it was brutal. So the first haircut wasn't good. So how long was it before you decided to give another haircut? And I'm assuming number 2 you tried no bowl.
Number 2 was actually the next day. I didn't listen.
You tried to fix it? Or
I did not listen. No, it was actually on my cousin.
Oh my!
The following time, and now my auntie got a chance to kick my butt.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
How often? I mean, from at some point, I'm sure you were just cutting hair all the time because your friends were like, "Oh, I can get a free or cheap haircut from my buddy." But like, how long was it before you actually gave a haircut that didn't suck?
I would say high school.
So you were giving bad haircuts for a while.
For a while, just trying to learn. But you know, with that, like my mom, she knew that I would not like listen to her. Like when it came to her telling me like don't cut anyone's hair.
Yeah.
So she was like, you know what? I'm just going to take you to a local barbershop, and like I'm a visual learner. Yeah. So I just went to a local barbershop that my mom allowed me to go to, and I would just like watch every single barber in the barbershop. And that's how I like started to learn and like get a little bit better.
Sure.
But
did your mom know the owner of the business or something, or
she just knew like the barber? You know, like every once in a while, like she can afford to like give us a haircut, but like primarily it was just her giving us the haircuts. But I would say like when we first moved here in Green Bay back in 2001. It was a barbershop that was on Broadway, coincidentally, that she would like drop me off over there. And I would just watch the guy, you know, for almost the whole day. And then she'd like come and pick me up. It was almost like free childcare for her.
Yeah, I was saying that's what it sounds like. Did he have you like sweeping the clippings and all that stuff?
No, I just remember just sitting there.
Oh.
Just watching.
I'm surprised that, I mean, regardless of how passionate you are about hair, that I feel like that's a long time to just watch people do the same thing, especially as a kid when your attention span is really short.
Yeah. I mean, you know, my mom, you know, she just, you know, she worked a lot. So it wasn't like she was at home anyway. So for me, it was like the coolest thing ever, just like be in a barbershop and like just do something that, one thing that I'm like passionate about, you know, and I don't know, like for me, it was cool. So
when was the first time you got paid? Like I mean, at some point you must have said, hey, to your friend, like, can I get $5?
Oh, that was definitely in high school. Yeah, I did charge $5. Actually, just the other day, I was like going through like some old stuff like that was in bins in my basement, and I saw an old haircut card. It said $5 on there. I was like, look at this.
You made business cards that said $5?
Oh, yeah.
Was it like Vistaprint, or at school you just use the printers for free?
I just use the printers. Yep, just put $5 haircuts and that's it. So
what did it look like? Was it just like a white card that just text said
that's
it?
That's exactly what it was. Just a white card, just like your standard card, white card. $5 haircut, and just had like my phone number at the time. It was like 217-5650. I still remember that number. I was like, hey, if you need me, just call. Obviously, they didn't have text back then.
Yeah.
So I just, you know, told people just like hit me up, or like hit me up on AOL, or I'm telling my age
Instant
right now.
Dude, I'm the same age as you, so I get it. Like, I'm starting to get a little grays and stuff. And I used to think when I opened my skateboard shop when I was 23, I was like, man, I'm so like young and successful.
Oh yeah.
And now I just have a podcast like everyone else, and I'm 35. I'm like, man,
that's what it is.
What happened to my life? No. So I would have assumed that if you were already making money, even if it's $5, obviously that goes up over time. Mm-hmm. If you were already doing that in high school, by the end of high school, I would have thought the like initial reaction would be to like go work at a barbershop or like try to go to school right away. Mm-hmm. But you got mixed up in some other stuff, and it was a while before that. So how come you didn't try to do that?
Because like I said, like barbering is just one of my passions. Like my other passion is building stuff. You know, so I like to do like home renovations. Yeah. You know, so I was just going back and forth between home renovations and barbering.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But still, I would think again at like 18, 19 that would be the way to go. I feel like it would be impossible to like skip over the prison time frame entirely, because I feel like that's an integral part of the story. But like, I guess what happened, you don't have to go into a bunch of detail. What happened that led to that? Was it because you were like building not the right type of businesses with the wrong type of people, or how did that happen? Because usually it's not like one little slip and then you do real time for a long time. Usually there's things that lead to that.
Well, with that, you know, like you said, it's a lot of stuff that leads to stuff like that. So with me being from Chicago, you know, like we have a mentality of, you know, like just survival, you know, all the time. So when I moved to, you know, Green Bay from Chicago, it was like a culture shock here.
Yeah.
You know, like when someone is like joking around, like in like, and I'm talking like in reference to like school or something like that. So if someone is joking around with you in school here in Green Bay, they're just joking around, but like, if somebody like, you know, shove you or something like in Chicago, like that means we got to fight, you know?
Sure.
You know, so like I still had that mentality like of like how to survive in Chicago, but I brought that here in Green Bay and thought that I thought that I was supposed to still, you know, live like that. Just to, you know, realize, you know, like later on in life, like, you know what, maybe, you know, Green Bay is a little bit more chill. Yeah. So, you know, as far as like, you know, like the prison stuff, like you said, like with everything, you know, like building up, you know, it took a long time just to, you know, get out of that Chicago mentality, you know, and not having like that poor me, you know, mentality or like the white man did this to us, you know, mentality. You know, I just had to like get myself from, you know, thinking like that, you know, for me to like move forward. Yeah. It's like, I know, you know, like a lot of stuff, you know, like within like the Black heritage, you know, like what happened. Yeah. But if I kept on to that, like deep within my roots, you know, it's like I felt like I can move on, you know, from thinking like that. So, and I tell a lot of people, like, you know, when I went to prison and I served my time in there, like, and I told them like, that was like the best thing that ever happened to me, you know, because being in prison, like I was in part of a program that they taught me how to live like a regular lifestyle, you know, outside of like what I was, you know, used to. Sure. You know, just being like a part of a family, like without saying too much, just like being a part of a family that, you are exposed to a lot of things, you know, that, you know, kids shouldn't be exposed to. Yeah. And not knowing what you were exposed to was illegal. Sure. You know, so like my whole life growing up before I moved here, you know, like I was told that none of the stuff that was, you know, going on around me, you know, wasn't illegal. Sure. It was just all just like a normal day, you know, for me until I moved to Green Bay. Like I've never heard of like a DARE program or anything like that. Sure. I was like, what the heck is this? Or what is this dog? You know, so like these people like had to like explain this to me. But even with that, you know, like I said, like I was still, you know, just learning like just how to like live a different life in Green Bay, you know, versus like, again, having that mentality from Chicago. And I don't know, it was a lot of stuff that happened before we, you know, moved to Green Bay, you know, from Chicago. I would say like the last thing I do remember, and I'm assuming like this is like what like messed up my head a little bit, like before I moved to Green Bay, is that I actually got jumped by a lot of guys. So I got put into like a small coma. Like it wasn't like nothing crazy, but
when you say a small coma, I've never heard anyone say that before.
I think it was like a medically you know, induced coma, you know, because like my head was swollen, you know, like I got hit in the head like with a bike. So like a pedal bike. It was a pedal bike in the yard. And all I remember was I saw the guy pick it up and he just like smacked it across my head, and that was all I remembered. Okay. And then I woke up on a couch with a bandage all over my head, you know. And
was it like same day then you woke up?
No.
Later that day?
No. I was in the hospital for a while. You know.
How long's a while?
Couldn't even tell you. My mom never talked about it that much.
Really?
Yeah. All I know is like when I woke up from it, like I just remember just living life different, you know, with my head, like, you know, being like bandaged up and all that kind of stuff. And like she just came to me. She was like, yeah, we're moving from Chicago. Yeah. And I
mean, that's a hard place to grow up for kids, and especially with like parents. It sounds like it was mostly just your mom around then.
Yeah, my mom. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, then as a single parent, it's like, I guess I've seen this in like a lot of places, but you know, when you don't have role models really around you, you don't know what's like normal or what you should be. Yep. And I would assume, I guess I shouldn't assume, but when you move to somewhere like Green Bay, especially 20 years ago, you know, more than 20 years ago, there wasn't a huge African-American population at the time, right? And so then you look to like, okay, well, so who's like me? Who's my role model that I'm supposed to be? And if you're facing things from, you know, other people, racism or whatever, and you have people around you when you're that young telling you that, you're this or you're that. You don't really know what to believe. And so I've seen a lot of kids, not exclusively talking about race here, but with anything, where they're like, well, if this is what society tells me that I am, then that must be what I am. I've seen it with skateboarding a lot, owning a skate shop, of like, you're telling kids all the time that they're delinquents and criminals. So then that gets into their mentality of like, well, that's what I am. Until they learn they can't be that if they want to achieve the goals they want to achieve in life. You know,
see, I like that you brought that point up, because I guess I wouldn't have even thought about that, but now that you say that, I do want to add to that. So with moving here, like I said, just dealing with people like pretty much telling you like who you are, because like here in Green Bay, and Green Bay is not, and what I'm about to say right now, like Green Bay is far from where it was like from when I first moved here. Because like you said, like it wasn't that many African Americans here. If it was probably like a Green Bay Packers family or something like that. So like we were, one of the original, African American families in the area, up until now. But, back then, like it was very racist here. Like the schools I went to, it was racist, but again, with, dealing with, like the police departments at that time, and we're talking about 2001, we're not talking about now. I just want to, but yeah, like, just talking about that time, like dealing with the racist police department at that time, and dealing with the schools, and, with them being racist towards, us, and it was a very difficult, time to, I guess, like be here in Green Bay, because, you got to figure, like, I'm still fresh from Chicago, still have that mindset, but then I'm also dealing with, all the racial stuff, because they're not used to seeing us around here.
And you're like 11, so you don't even know who you are yet. Like I don't think we give kids nearly enough credit, because especially during that time frame, one of the hardest things to like deal with as an adult as well is when you don't when you feel a lack of identity. You don't know where to put your time or what you're building towards or anything. And so when you're facing all of that and you don't have any like sense of self hardly to begin with, like that's a really, really difficult situation.
I don't know. And it's like, even with that being said, it's like I did not know who I was, because I was who they told me who I was.
Right.
It's like, oh yeah, I just remember. I'm not going to say what school it was, because again, we're talking about past tense. They just told me like, well, you're just going to end up in jail. You're going to end up in prison. You're going to end up dead. It's like, or you're just going to be a drug dealer for the rest of your life, or you're going to be doing this for the rest of your life. And for a very long time, I believed that. Because those were my peers, and, back when we were young, it's like you got to listen to your peers. So like if my peers are telling me that, like I thought that. And I always try to tell people, like I said, like when I went to prison, like that was like the best thing that happened to me. This was years. Well, this is like after high school when I actually went to prison for drugs. It is what it is, but it's not. It is what it is. But I learned from it. I moved past it, and I had to build my life from all that. But again, I have like that mentality of the white man did this to me or whatever. I just had to like pretty much take life by the balls and just deal with it. And whatever came my way, I just dealt with it.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of it really is like a systemic thing that I try to like, I've had this conversation with a lot of people, our general age group, about how we like see older people of, again, all races and everything, and their attitudes are so drastically different about a lot of things. And I try to like imagine what world they lived in when they were my age and like how drastically different that was. And you're a product of your environment. Everyone like is born as a person, as an equal, but you are a product of the environment that you grow up in. That's why you see wealthy kids become wealthy adults, because their parents tell them and show them this is exactly the path. And they have other advantages, but that's the case with a lot of things. But on the flip side, that happens too. So when you see all this hate, especially when you're like younger, I mean, I'm not saying you should never blame them, but at some point with age of kids, that's just their parent speaking. And something has to happen for them to like even know that it's wrong. You know what I mean? Because they're also just a product of their environment. So it's just something that's going to take a really long time. Thankfully, we've come a long ways, I think. So you cutting hair in prison. So you get to prison. do you fill out like a special skills little form and you're like, I can cut hair? And they're like, okay, this is what you do. Show up at 7 a.m. tomorrow. I mean, how does it actually work? I have no idea.
Honestly, like a lot of things in my life, it just fell on my lap, right?
Okay.
So I was like, prison, I don't know, everybody is different. Like prison is going to be a different experience for everybody.
Yeah.
You know, for me, like I said, I was more on like a program. Like it was a prison, but it was a program. So it was like a 1 foot in, 1 foot out kind of a place. Like it really, I feel like I was in like a dorm or something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
So it wasn't like, hardcore, like what you see on TV. Like it was nothing like that. It was more of a program. So when I went there, obviously like with anyone, like you should be scared, going in there. They pretty much like assign you to like wherever prison that you're going to go to, depending on like how serious like your case was. So mine was, like I said, I just sold drugs, it was like really nothing. So they sent me over to Sanger B, like I said, which is, it's pretty much like on a farm.
Okay.
So when I went there, like they assigned you to just pretty much like random stuff just to see like if you're going to like work out in that specific thing that you got to do.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm trying to remember, this was so long ago. What did I do? Oh, I know what I did. So I helped out with the dogs. So they had dogs on the property. So I helped out with that. And then like I just helped out with like cleaning like around the place. And then I knew it was a barbershop in there, but the barber that was in there, like he also went out for like work release, but then also came in like certain days just to, cut hair up in there.
Yeah.
So like just one day I like popped up in there. I was like, yo, can you like teach me like some stuff with the, like with cutting hair? He was like, I don't know. You gotta ask the CEOs. It's like I don't know. I can't give you that approval. So
yeah,
end up going over to the CEOs. I was like, yo, you think it's okay if I can, go in there and like shadow them or like help out or whatever? And they was like, well, I guess, like just go ahead and go up in there. So I'm like, all right, cool. So, I remember my first day going in there, just like anybody going to a new barber, like I don't care where you're at, like nobody is going to trust a new barber.
Yeah.
So that specific barber was like, not only like he let me shadow him, but he like let me like cut hair, like,
oh cool, just
so like the guys get like more comfortable like with me,
sure,
transitioning into going in there, with him. So that's pretty much how it is. Like I said, it just fell on my lap. Like it wasn't like I had to go through like this whole big process to work up in there. It was like, hey, do you know how to cut? Cool, go ahead and cut.
Yeah, well, and I'm sure it was like, this is a really perfect way to pass the time as well while I'm here. Mm-hmm. So when you eventually did get out from, again, the Cripescast interview, you said that you were kind of doing a bunch of like temp agency jobs and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And then your first like actual job where you got paid legally was at a gas station. But you, in that interview, you also said part of what you got arrested for was burglary.
Yeah.
So when the owner offered you that job and then looked at your background, were they not concerned at all? They were just like, well, I already offered the job, so I guess it is what it is.
No, that's another one of those situations that fell on my lap, you know. So, getting out, of those kind of like situations, like it's hard for anyone to get a job anywhere, you know. So I put in over 1,000 applications in the Green Bay, Fox Valley area, from Green Bay to Appleton, Wisconsin, like putting in applications everywhere. Every single one told me no. So I was just forced to, just to work at temp agencies. It is what it is, because they just have any and everybody that work for these temp agencies, and I was one of those guys. So I could be in Oshkosh working through the temp agency. I could be in Green Bay. I can be, just whatever.
Yeah.
So just one day, like I just like walked into this gas station, just to go pay for my gas, and just so happened the manager of the gas station was like arguing with the cashier that they had at the time. And then it fired the person right on the spot. And then he looked at me, he was like, hey, do you want a job? And I was like, yeah, I want a job. Like, yeah, I want a job.
Yeah.
And he was like, can you start right now? I was like, let me go park my car real quick, So he ended up, bringing me in and like training me for that whole day. And by the end of the day, like, again, I'm a visual learner. So like by the end of the day, like I knew how to run the whole shift.
Yeah.
So that's how I got my first legal, like, I guess, quote unquote, real job.
Yeah. But so then that means he didn't run a background check at all.
Nope. So
at some point, I'm sure he must have either ran a background check or found out. What was the conversation at that point then?
So I actually told him at the end of the shift, I was like, hey, just so you know, like, you know, I got a felony on my record and all that good stuff. And he was like, dude, I don't give a He was like, I can already tell you're a great worker.
He's like, you're better than this other one.
Exactly. He was like, yeah. He was like, we don't look at backgrounds here. We just look at the person. Wow. So, yeah, he gave my first job.
All it took was the right opportunity. So then after that, while you were still working there, you went to beauty school. Mm-hmm. I'm sure you felt out of place when you came to Green Bay and you were like the only black kid in school. How out of place did you feel as a black male going to beauty school in Wisconsin?
Well, at that time, because that was, back in 2013, 12 or 13, somewhere around there. At that time, we had more African Americans that moved to Green Bay. So, like, it was, you know, we had a couple of guys that was up in the school already before I enrolled in it. When I went to the school, I think we had about maybe 3 other black guys that was up in there.
Okay.
Yeah. So, like, they were actually mentors, you know, to me, you know, when I was going to beauty school. But, yeah, I was working at the gas station. I was going to, you know, school at the same time. So, I go to school in the morning, get done around like 3, 4, then go up to the gas station, put in like 1 to 2 shifts, and then get right back up, go back and do it again. So
wow. So how long? What all goes into actually getting your degree? Is it like you know, like in a normal college, it's like if you on average you take 15 credits, you know, per semester or whatever. So 60 would be 2 years, you know, and that's like full time school. How much do you actually have to do for that?
Well, it's just a year.
Okay.
That was back then. Like, I don't know what it is
now. I'm sure things change.
It's different now, yeah. But yeah, back then, so I'm actually by trade, I'm a cosmetologist.
Yeah.
Not just a barber, so I had to do everything.
Yeah.
So I had to do, you know, women's hair, you know, nails, makeup, you know, pedicures. You know,
when was the last time you did someone's nails?
Well, I do my wife's and my kids, you know, whenever I get a chance. But yeah. So
maybe you'll still be cool in high school because you'll be able to do the cool nails. For when you graduate from something like that, it must be like a test. I think of the show King of the Hill where Luann's like failing at the test of braiding hair or whatever. What does the like final exam look like for that? What do you have to do?
Man, so you have to do a practical, and then you got to do like the written exam. So the practical, I passed it with flying colors.
Okay.
The written, which is technically it's on a computer. Yeah, I failed that about like 5 times.
Oh, okay.
You know, so like when people look at me in the industry and like, you know, just seeing like where I'm at now, you know, but a lot of people don't know that I failed that test, like I said, about 6 times, you know, but you know, it just shows that, you know, it don't matter how many times you fail, like as long as you just keep on doing it, like you can get anywhere in life.
I think it's so much better to fail early anyways, you know, because then you're not so afraid of it. And that's like everybody, dude. Like everyone sees Charlie Behrens now as like this mega successful dude. He was trying to be an actor in California and not successful. Oh, yeah. You know what I mean? For like a while. And then he pushed through it until he found something that hit. And then he capitalized and like took off, and now he's like Wisconsin's most famous man. You know, but like he also failed for a long time.
Charlie, you still owe me a fishing trip.
That's right. That was the first thing I asked, because I was like, man, I want to go ice fishing with Charlie Behrens. That sounds incredible. So when you graduated then, I'm assuming you immediately stopped working at the gas station and got a job at a salon?
No. So I actually still worked at the gas station, but I did get a job at a salon.
Sure.
Yeah.
You were loyal to the gas station.
Yeah, I was. They were loyal to me.
Yeah.
They were loyal to me, so I'm going to be loyal to them. You know, like, it was actually hard for me to actually, like, you know, not work there anymore.
Sure.
But, like, the owner of the place, you know, he just told me, he was like, no, he was like, this is what you should be doing. Like, we love you here, but just go work full time in the salon.
Spread your wings and fly.
Yeah.
So I know you were like handing out business cards and stuff, which I assume must have been upgraded from the white with the text $5 when you were working at the gas station. But then when you started working at the salon, did you kind of immediately have a whole clientele that you just said, go here?
The slowest person on earth at that time.
Okay.
Oh man, like it's weird because like I look at my new barbers and stylists, and you know, I always tell them, I was like, just be grateful right now that you're not that busy.
Yeah.
Because once you start getting busy, it'll get busy.
Yeah.
But, you know, all I can tell them is like, you know, like, I remember when I was in your shoes and just like, you know, just being in your head, like, wait a minute, like, am I good enough to be in this, or should I be doing this? Like, did I make the right choice and all this good stuff? But, you know, now that I'm where I'm at now, it's like, it's really cool just that I can, you know, help mold them, you know, to get to like where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
You know, without them like going through like all the headaches that I went through. So, to answer your question, like, no, I was very slow. For a while, I say for like a good 6 to 8 months, I started getting like more traction.
Sure.
But I started getting the traction because that was when I started handing out business cards at the gas station.
Oh,
so
sure.
like,
You're like, not enough people are walking in. I got to do something.
for sure. But like, I don't, it's funny because like I tell like the guy barbers here, I was like, hey, you can always, work at a gas station, hand out your card like I did.
Yeah.
So like the owner of the salon that I used to work at, he made business cards. And I just took like a stack of them.
Sure.
And like, so anytime any kind of mail would come into the gas station, like to pay for the gas or, get whatever he's getting into the gas station, I'm like, hey, I'm a barber. Like, here go my card. So I did that, for like that whole like 6 to 8 months. And like I said, that was when I started seeing traction because like I started seeing those cards coming back in.
Sure.
Cause I just put like, $5 off if you come up in here. Cause I think at that time it was like $15 or something like that.
Yeah.
So like, $5 off if you come in and come and see me. You got 30 days to come in or whatever.
Sure.
So I just kept doing that. And like I said, actually, I still right now today still have a lot of clients from the gas station.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, at some point you get good enough and fast enough that people are like, okay, this was actually a good deal. I'll keep coming back.
Yeah.
How does it feel though when you have to raise the price on those people? Do you feel a little like, I mean, obviously you need to value yourself, so it's not like you're doing them any wrong, but I always feel guilty anytime I'm like, you got to pay me for something. You know what I mean? Do you feel guilty every single time, or did you grandfather people in for way too long?
Oh man, I think that's a loaded question and it's situational.
Some people get the hookup.
No, not anymore. But yeah, it's situational because like when I was working for the salon, if I got to raise my prices, they just got to answer to the owner of the place. They don't got to answer to me. It's like, hey, the owner was like, hey, I got to raise my prices.
Yeah. Okay.
Obviously you feel like crap, it is what it is because you don't know if that client's going to come back or not, you know, but like with me owning like my own place now, it was more sentimental to me, because like it's a lot of clients that was, that was with me, from the beginning, up until that point that I had to, raise my prices, everybody can't afford, that price jump, but, a lot of people could, but over time, I just had to like just remind myself like business is business. Like if you're not going to raise your prices, you're probably just going to shut down one day because you can't, keep up with your bills or lifestyle or whatever that is. So nowadays I'm like, yeah, hey, I bought a new building. I gotta raise my prices again. Most clients are like, hey, I don't give a god. I'm like, go ahead. I'm still going to be there. But it's actually kind of funny because it's almost like a double-edged sword. So you would get clients that will leave, but then they'll come back like a couple of months later. It was like, okay, so-and-so f***ed me up. Like I'm gonna just pay the difference,
Yeah, for sure.
So like that's why I say it's situational.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you get better at your craft, right? It's the same way of like, if I asked someone, Charlie Barons, to come on the show like 3 years ago, I'm like, I get why you wouldn't want to do it. You know what I mean? Because it just wasn't as good. But then a year later, I'm like, oh, now all of a sudden it's on video. A year later, now all of a sudden it's 3 camera angles. A year later, Charlie Barons still hasn't came on the show. But it like you get better and better, and it's like, well, I am worth more at this point because I have all of this experience. So of course it has to go up. Plus it helps when all of a sudden you have celebrity clients. So you told the story about Kyle Murphy, but I feel like you still need to tell the story because it's a great story. So tell me the story about the first time that you cut the hair for a Packers player.
Kyle Murphy, man, like I miss that guy being in Green Bay.
What a legend.
Oh man.
Shoot him a text. Say you
love the guy. Yeah, I still got his number. But I remember this day like it was yesterday. Like so Kyle Murphy wasn't originally booked with me. He was booked with another barber. And Green Bay had shot out what was it called, like a tornado warning.
Another barber at your shop?
Yeah. This is my first ever location that I opened up.
Okay.
So yeah, he had booked with him, but then like they shot out the tornado warning, so we ended up canceling all of our appointments. And like Cal had showed up like as I'm like locking up the doors and all this good stuff. He was like, hey, like, what's going on? Like, this is like, he's like still fresh in Green Bay. Like, just got signed to the team.
Yeah.
Don't know what's going on. I was like, dude, I'm going home. I was like, you can stay out here with this, this tornado. It's like, I'm not dealing with it, but hey, if it passes through, nothing happened, here goes my number, just call me within like 45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah.
So, all of us ended up leaving, and the tornado just never touched down in Green Bay. So then he ended up calling me. He was like, "Yo, so can I still get in for the haircut?" I was like, "Yeah, let me see if it was another barber. Let me see if that barber can get you in real quick." And he was like, "Oh, no, go ahead, Han. Like, hey, he called you. Just go ahead and get him in." So I'm like, "All right, cool." So I was like, "Yo," he said, "I can get you in. So meet me back over at the shop." So met him back over there. And he was like, "Oh man, like this is just so dope. Like for you to just come back over here. I know it's kind of crazy in Green Bay right now, but he was like, I really appreciate you coming back here, cutting my hair." He was like, "Oh yeah, by the way, I'm a Packer player." I was like, "Oh." I was like, "You a Packer player?" He was like, "Yeah, I really don't like leaning to that. Like I don't really start my conversations like that." I was like, "Oh, okay." I was like, "Oh, that's pretty cool." The whole time I'm just like freaking out of my head, right? I was like, "Oh man, this is my first Packer player. Like this is dope," you know? So like when I'm cutting this hair, this would be like equivalent to like when I first started like cutting Matt LaFleur's hair. Yeah. It's like I'm like shaking it and it's just like, "Oh, don't mess his head up." Like that's how I was like with Kyle Murphy at that time. I was like, "Man, like please don't mess his fade up. Please just like keep coming back." End up, giving him a great haircut and all that good stuff. And he started like, referring like other players, over. So that was Robert Tanyan. And then Robert Tanyan started referring people, and then Alan Lazar started coming, then he started referring people, and it just kept on like trickling down. So yeah, that was like my first experience like with the Packer player.
And then you got on ESPN, everyone talking about you as the Packers, because Matt LaFleur has the best hair in football. So everyone has to know who cuts the best hair in football.
You quickly, once you came into national prominence, was a guy like, that guy's always got a great haircut. You look phenomenal.
You gotta
Let
have a
alone
great
the beard.
barber.
The beard is unbelievably on point.
I appreciate that.
Is this every day you wake up like,
No.
we get a haircut every day?
No, once a week usually, maybe 2 weeks.
Do the boys recognize this, I assume, in the locker room, how nice the fade is?
Yeah, we got a great barber in town, Han Can, and does a great job.
Han Can, great work.
Title. And apparently it's Han Can Barbershop over in Green Bay. Man, I can just imagine like when you're holding the razor, like you know what I mean? Like how easy it would be for that to happen.
Oh yeah.
But when you've been doing something a long time, you kind of just fall into your zone. I have that happen with the show where I'll interview people that I'm like nervous talking to them until I hit record. And then when I do, I'm just kind of like right into my little zone. Not that I never stumble over words or anything, but like it's hard for me to really like have a blunder because I've done it so many times. You just kind of like get into the zone of it. So once you had him, did you give him the same price knowing that he made way more money?
Yeah. No, so here's the thing. It's like, regardless, like if it's a celebrity or not, like my price is still my price. Like I'm not going to overcharge you because I know that you make a lot of money.
Sure. Yeah. But do players, you don't have to say any individual ones, do they tend to tip a lot higher or anything? Or is it just you make the exact same amount of money regardless
just a normal
of who
person.
It is? Man, these guys need to step their game up. Send you some nice Christmas presents or something because you make them look good on TV.
I guess I just never like, I've cut hair in like, bigger cities, and this was like after the fact of, me working over there. But, in bigger cities, like that's how they are over there. Like they're just going to pay you a lot of money because it's like clout based driven in like bigger cities. But like here in Green Bay, I don't know. It's like, I felt like that I shouldn't overcharge people for a service just because you do whatever you do.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
That's like me like wanting to get a quote for something in my business. Like, oh, well, since you're the owner, you can afford it. It's like, no, sure. I'm not. Yeah, I don't. I've never done that. Like, if somebody want to give me more money, hey, thank you. It just shows that you value my service. But I'm not going to be like, no, you have to pay me more because you play for whatever.
At what point was it that you started doing some haircuts outside of just your own shop? Because when you have all these people, I assume word gets out that all these players are coming to get their haircut from you. Packers fans are intense, and I'm sure a lot of these guys don't really love just going to like a public place if they can avoid it. So at some point you must have been doing some house calls or something, I would think.
Yeah, so I do house calls. So the house calls, obviously that's going to get expensive. Yeah. So house calls, I don't know exactly who the player was, but it was a player. I don't recall his name, but when the word got out that I was like going to his place, that was when like all the other guys like, yo, can you come over here too?
Sure.
It's like, yeah, I can do it, but like here's the cost. It's not the regular shop cost. Like if you want the regular shop cost, come to the shop.
Yeah.
If you don't mind me coming to your place, here's other costs.
Did the vast majority of people just say, come to my place then? Or not?
I say 50-50.
Wow. I mean, I guess all people spend their money differently, but I would think just from the headache of dealing, with people around, especially if you become predictable, because something like you must cut a lot of these players during the season, like every week or two, right?
No, I used to.
Not anymore?
Nah.
How come?
Oh, no. You just, time goes by and, you just try to like see what you need to prioritize.
Sure.
That's all. And for me, I knew exactly who I wanted to cut over there, and everybody just don't fit that, for me.
Sure. So can you say which people you still cut hair for?
Probably not.
Okay.
Let's just say I got 4 people on my roster and that's it. And I'm okay with that.
Oh, there's only 4 of them.
I can cut whoever.
Well, right.
So-
But I mean, it's only really consistent that you cut 4 people's hair.
Because that was my own terms,
Sure.
I was like, if I'm coming over here to do this, like these are the people that I'm gonna do, and I got to get out of here.
But how many haircuts do you think you do in a week?
A lot.
Well, because I mean, after like these news stories started coming out, like they went pretty viral online. I gotta think you got a lot of phone calls from people in the public being like, well, if I can get the same haircut Matt LaFleur had, like I'm coming down. Every chiropractor and doctor and whoever else. Like, I mean, what happened after those news stories started to come out? Did you have to immediately raise prices? Did you have to put on a waiting list for everybody, or like what happened?
It's gonna sound crazy. I did nothing,
Okay.
I kept business going as business went, so if I had a opening, if you can book it, go ahead and book it. Sure. I didn't try to increase my prices crazy. Like just every year I increase it just a little bit, but I changed nothing about my business model.
Sure.
So like for me, it's like I like seeing like new people in my chair, because like I still have like my regular clientele that I see every single week. But like just seeing like those new people and like they coming in, it was like, yo, I heard about you from the Pat McAfee show. I was like, oh, okay, that's dope. So what you want for your haircut though?
Yeah, sure.
But the whole appointment time, like it doesn't matter who it is. Like that's all they want to talk about. It's like, oh man, how was Matt LaFleur? Or have you ever met Pat McAfee or anything like that? So it was a little different. I just had to like get used to that. I don't know.
You became a little bit of a local celebrity all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Because everyone talks about the Matt LaFleur one. Was it just like you got a phone call from a private number and it happened to be him and he was like, or what was the situation where because he didn't just like walk in the shop and say, hey, do you have an opening?
Robert Tanyan connected us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's how that worked. And, I cut his hair one time and he just been coming to me ever since.
Was it in the shop or?
Yeah, so this was at my other Broadway location.
When he came in, did you have to like lock the doors for everybody else, or did everyone play it cool that Matt LaFleur was in the room?
I told no one he was coming. Like it's just another day for me.
Yeah.
So like I think that the more you make other people around you aware of like what's really going on, the worse it is.
Sure.
So like when he comes, no one knows he's coming. Like it would be random clients just like in the shop. Matt just walk in, get in the chair, and like they don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
This is actually funny though. So like this was about a month or so ago. LaFleur came in, and this other guy, he was just like talking about the Packers and whatever he was saying, but he was more like trash talking them. I was like, this is kind of funny because like he's literally sitting right here, but you don't know that, But I'm not going to say anything,
right?
So we just let him go through the whole haircut and all that good stuff, and I cut LaFleur up and all that. LaFleur ended up leaving out before the other guy, left out. So like once he left out, I was like, hey buddy. I was like, that was just Matt LaFleur, right? He was like, no way. I was like, yeah, that was definitely him. You were just talking all that shit.
Wow.
I was like, now I hope that we crush the Bears this year because he was a Bears fan.
Dude, yeah, for real. The Bears still suck. That honestly just kind of like adds to the whole like allure and mystery and like legend of the Hand Can Barbershop in Green Bay. Okay, so I have some kind of rapid fire question for you. So we'll see if you want to answer them or not.
Let's go.
What is the best and worst hair trend you've seen in the last 5 years?
The best hair trend, I got to go with the mullet, man. I love a sick mullet.
Okay.
Oh man. I would gotta, and kind of like a mullet, but the worst hair trend was a skullet.
Oh God!
Don't ever asked me to do that.
Did you have to do that for some
I had
people?
to do it, and no, it's a no for me.
Were there any white people that did the skullet?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay. Yeah, not so good. Okay. Doesn't have to be Packers player. 3 NFL players who have the best hair.
Ooh. Wow.
Could be retired if you really want to go to Troy Polamalu, but it could be anybody.
I gotta go with Tim Boyle.
I guess you cut him.
Yeah. I gotta go with Tim Boyle. I gotta go with Patrick Mahomes. Probably Odell.
He's got good hair.
Yeah.
Who are 3 NFL players you haven't cut hair for, but they need your help?
A lot. I guess with me not really knowing too much about the NFL, like I really don't know a lot of players. Like,
Sure.
I just know like the top ones. I can say them, but I think they got some pretty good barbers. So I don't know.
You can't call them. Okay. Which 3 players, maybe Odell's in there, have the best beards? Because you are a hairless up top, but a glorious beard individual.
Yeah, Odell is definitely up on there. I think Travis Kelce got a nice beard. His brother.
Jason?
Yeah, Jason and
Yeah.
Travis Kelce, both of them got nice beards.
Dude, they sent me some beer, and I've been trying to get them. So, Jason and Travis, you probably won't see this, but I'm going to send you another email. I want to work with Garage Beer. They sent me a couple cases of beer, and I made a couple clips for them. And they still follow me.
Okay.
Now that so I actually did that for them right as they were buying it. I didn't get a message from Travis, but I got a message from them. Anyways, I want to do some stuff for them. Of all the players you've interviewed, who's the chattiest Kathy?
Tim Boyle. All day. That's my boy, but man, he can talk. But with Tim, it's like Tim talk about stuff that matters though.
Sure.
So I actually enjoy his conversations, but he talk a lot.
Who's the quietest?
Who's the quietest? Oh. I ain't gonna say it's a specific player. I think a lot of them are.
Who's the most particular? The hardest to please? I mean, you succeed every time.
I would say all of them. It's situational.
Yeah.
You know, all of them. Yeah, all of them. Because like you got to realize that like these guys are coming from like different areas, and again, they got to trust that new barber.
Yeah.
So I get like some players in the chair. It's like, yo, my barber didn't start like that. I'm like, listen, bro, like this is how I started. So you can call your barber here and let him do it, or let me do it.
Sure.
So I would say all of them are the same way.
Who was the most intimidating person? Zadarius Smith?
Zadarius Smith. Man, like I've never the haircut. Like I've never shake that much with him in my presence. It's like when he come in, it's like full force. I'm like, man, you a scary mother. You scary, bro.
Dude, I was in Preston Smith, legend. He was awesome as well, but God, I wish we didn't get rid of Zadarius. Like, I understand there's all this drama and whatever,
Oh, yeah.
but that dude was a beast,
Yes.
and if we would have just kept him, he would have kept being a beast.
Oh yeah.
What's the most unique haircut you've done for a Packers player? Was it Tunyon?
Yeah, Robert Tanya. He came with some odd requests, but I put it together.
What's your favorite individual haircut that you've done from one of them? Was it something that was really unique, or was it just like you spent a lot of time on LaFleur's hair before he played, the NFC Championship game, and you were really proud of it?
I think LaFleur's hair. I think I will always be proud of his hair.
Sure.
You know, like out of all of my clients, he the only one I take a lot of time on because I know that he barely wears hats on the sideline. So I got to be extremely careful on everything I do.
I'm sure. What's your favorite piece? Because I saw you share recently a trading card of Matt LaFleur's that he signed.
Oh, yeah.
But you have a lot of memorabilia.
Yeah.
What is your favorite piece of memorabilia that you've gotten?
I would say my Green Bay Packers hat, cowboy hat.
Yeah,
Green Bay
you
Packers
just
cowboy
got that.
hat.
Someone make
Just
that for
got
you,
it.
or what?
I'm not going to say the company because they're not sponsored or anything.
Sure.
But yeah, it's a company out there that made the hat and sent it over to me.
Do you get special treatment as far as like you get free tickets or anything, or like when you want to go to a game, do you just shoot a couple messages to people and they let you go to the sidelines?
I just think it's just one of those things. Like if you got like some kind of a relationship with that person, like they'll just like offer it to you.
Sure.
You know, but I don't go out of my way and ask them for anything.
Yeah.
No, they'll just be like, hey, Han, like, you want to come to this week's game? Like, hey, yeah, for sure. Bring the wife and kids.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, that happens with me all the time with shows. I see a lot of shows because I'll interview somebody before the show. And I've talked to my other friends about this. They're like, are you staying? And I'm like, well, the thing is like, it's kind of awkward of them not to invite me. So I definitely don't ask.
Oh, yeah.
But it's like, as I'm packing up for 20 minutes, they're like, what are you doing after this? I'm like, I don't know. You should stay. So I end up like having backstage passes at shows all the time. It's pretty dope. Okay. Of all the players, who's the funniest?
I don't know. All of them are usually tired when they come in, so I don't really get too much of anything from it. I don't know.
What's been the funnest experience that you've gotten to have outside of cutting their hair? Because you met Charlie Barons at AJ Dillon's wedding, correct?
No, I met him before that.
Well, you saw him then at AJ Dillon's wedding, which means you were invited to AJ Dillon's wedding.
Yep.
Have you had any other like fun experiences like that? Nobody invited you to the bachelor party to cut everybody right before in Vegas or anything crazy like that?
Yes. What is his name?
You did get invited to do that?
I got invited to go over to Indiana for a wedding. I can't think of his name right now. I'm sorry.
If it comes to you, then you'll have to tell me. Okay, so what is it that you're kind of building after this? Because 2022, again, I keep referencing that interview, but in that you said you were kind of done as far as trying to grow this a whole lot more. So are you still, is that the mindset of like you have your 2 barbershops and you're working with an organization with the NFL? But you have those set up. Do you want to open more? Do you want to just not deal with managing more people? Do you want to completely take a back seat and only manage people and only cut Matt LaFleur's hair? Or like, what is the future? Where's the trajectory going?
I think with the future, obviously we all just, getting older. I don't think that I will ever, stop cutting hair. I think I want to like taper it down a little bit.
Okay.
But you guys heard it here first. I'm actually looking at opening up another location.
Oh, snap.
I'll be closing down both of my locations.
Oh, wow.
But going into a bigger location.
Oh.
So I'll be combining everything.
Yeah.
So it's about 3,000 square feet.
Wow.
So we're going to start the whole process sometime next week.
Wow. Yeah. How long, do you have like a projected idea of when you're hoping to have everything done?
That's a year project. Yeah.
Are you going to do all of it yourself again? Because I know you do some carpentry.
We're going to get some contractors just going to do it. The biggest features that this barbershop is going to be is it's actually not going to be a barbershop. So it's going to be a hand-can barber and beauty.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So is the wife going to join you then?
Yeah, eventually. Wow. My wife, she just, focusing on the kids and their schedules right now. But I say within due time, she'll be there with me.
You may become the matchmaker in Green Bay with both male and female clients eyeing each other up while they get their hair dyed.
Yep, so the key services we're going to have, obviously, men and women services.
Yeah.
So we're going to do hair, makeup, eyelashes, manicures, pedicures. And it's also going to have its own coffee shop.
Wow.
So, yeah.
A whole boutique.
Yeah.
Are you, because I see the few grays that you have. I think salt and pepper beards are the coolest ones. Ed Reed has an incredible one. Now that you're 35 and you're getting older, are you going to intentionally let your beard get glorious with the grays? Or are you going to dye it?
I'm going to continue dying it. I want to keep my youth just for this.
You don't want to be that
more
guy.
Years, man. No, these grays here, these came from my kids.
Dude, I feel it again. Like once your older one gets in middle school, you're in for a real ride. Okay, So I ask this question every episode. And I get to hear a lot of really cool stories. When you do something that you're passionate about for a living, you get to have a lot of really unique experiences that rarely anybody else gets to have. They're not financially focused, but they are really, really dope. Such as I've gotten to interview a lot of my favorite music artists and have drinks with them and get way too drunk and then be hungover recording an interview with them the next day. Sunreal, what's up? Can you share a story like that for you?
Well, unique. Okay. I can't really think of anything like off the top of my head, but just something recently that just happened.
Sure.
And I'm pretty sure I got a lot of stories, but
Yeah.
like right now I'm just extremely tired.
Sure.
But yeah, recently, and what I'm gonna say first is that, you know, like I've done a lot of things. I've donated, like I've done a lot of stuff, you know, within the past, 10 years, almost 10 years I've been open. And I would say like one of my biggest accomplishments so far, this just happened last week, that the Department of Corrections reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to come in and do public speaking.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah.
That's awesome, dude.
And for me, it was like, I've always had that in the back of my mind that would be something that I always wanted to do.
Yeah.
Like that's my definition of like giving back. Just like let these guys know that it doesn't matter that you're up in there, as long as you learn from it and you move forward from it, you know. So like with these specific guys, like they're actually in a barbering program over there. So like I said, I get to go over there and, you know, talk to these guys, like let them know like, hey, barbering actually work. You don't gotta pick up a gun, or you don't got to pick up drugs, or you don't got to do this and that, whatever your poison was, you don't got to do that. If you just stick to, you know, doing barbering or whatever other job that will be, you know, once you know, get out, you can take it anywhere.
Yeah.
You know, like I proved that, you know, I went from a situation of, you know, moving here from, you know, Chicago and, you know, dealing with all my challenges, you know, living here and, you know, being who I am today. You can do the same thing.
Absolutely.
You know,
I mean, it goes back to what we were talking about earlier of like, if you don't have anyone you feel you can relate to, and it doesn't have to be race, but especially for these people, inmates, I mean, they really are alienated.
Yep.
You know, they're like branded as in they have to tell everybody that they're a felon if they're a felon, but they're branded as like, you don't belong, you're not going to be successful. And unless they see somebody else who they feel they can relate to, who has that same, you know, lack of better word, branding to them, it's hard to think that it's possible. So I think those stories are really powerful when you can go in and talk to them. Plus, I mean, you can actually then talk to them when they get out.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you can build relationships with people that way.
Oh, for sure.
Man, this was incredible. Let me give you a couple of gifts, and then I know you have more clients that you have to get to, and then I have to get back on the road. So first, the coffee in front of you. I don't know if you're a big coffee fan or not, but I have a bag of coffee for you. That's from Minimum Wage Tim's Coffee Co. That's a buddy of mine in Minneapolis, but you can find it online in a bunch of coffee shops in Minnesota. And then I have these for you from Skull Candy headphones. Those are the new Dime Evos in the fancy gold.
That's dope.
Dude, they're so rad.
That's dope.
And then lastly, you can have one of the coffee cups that I brought. And I actually have two other ones off mic that you can pick from. But you can keep one of those and show off that you were a guest on the Passion Pod.
Pick up your passion.
Yeah, dude.
Let's go. I like that.
Hell yeah. Well, yeah. So thanks again. Give a shout out quick. Where can everybody find you? And if they want to get on your wait list to have the most illustrious hair in Wisconsin, how do they do so?
Well, the simple question or a simple answer to that, you know, you can just go on our website at handcambarber.com and you will see all the individual stylists that you can book with. If you want to book with me, I advise you to, you know, book out 3 weeks or 4 weeks in advance. And I guess I'll see you guys here. But yeah, just follow us on Instagram. That's where I usually have all of my stuff posted. It's just Handcam Barbershop on Instagram.
Dude, at least it's not the waiting list of the Packers season ticket holders where you have to get on as a child and you'll get it in your 80s.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah, thanks again so much.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of The Passion Pod. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. We'll see you soon.